Tonight on Newswatch at 6, we're taking a look at the severe weather that ripped through our area on Tuesday. We have tracked every element in the aftermath, from survivors who were inside their homes when an EF2 tornado raced through La Vista to first responders working day and night. Newswatch at 6 starts right now.
Live from the WOAY studios, this is Newswatch at 6.
Good evening, Southern West Virginia. I'm Brandy Lawrence, anchoring this special edition of Newswatch at 6. We come to you tonight as Fayette and Nicholas counties are still reeling from severe weather that brought rain, straight-line winds clocked at over 80 miles an hour, and an EF2 tornado. That tornado is where we start things tonight. Brianna Mowry was on the ground less than an hour after the tornado touched down. Here's her report.
Behind me, we are seeing damage from a tornado that moved across Route 60. We are in the northeastern area of Fayette County, seeing lots of damage to the rest of these homes across this area. This was all a part of a larger storm system that impacted the North Atlantic region and the Ohio Valley on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. And reporting for WOAY Newswatch, I'm meteorologist Brianna Mowry.
Again, only minor injuries were reported that night. The destruction was largely limited to personal property. Our news crew on the scene was able to speak to one of the survivors of the tornado. She was inside her home when it hit with her husband, both of them escaping relatively unscathed. Her husband suffering only a cut on his head. Here's her story.
Our phones sounded off and said, get to the basement. And I looked out the window, porch window, and everything was flying, and I turned around and he was starting ahead of me into the kitchen to get somewhere smaller, and I could hear it going whoo, 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 something. I said, I hear something, whoo, 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 like that. We could hear the glass breaking in the windows breaking, and everything was just flying. And then I got him up off the floor, helped him off the floor.
Thank you, Brandy. 2 days later, after a major tornado outbreak across the region and it's snowing, we have a big change in the weather pattern. But guess what, folks? See this debris field behind me, trees down in all different directions. We just got word from the Weather Service, based on their preliminary analysis, that an EF2 on the enhanced Fujita scale, an EF2 tornado touched down on Tuesday afternoon, winds of 130 miles per hour. It was one of the stronger tornadoes that have ever moved across southern West Virginia. We will have their full analysis coming up probably during the 11 o'clock newscast, because they will put out an official press release later this evening. So once again, an EF2 on the enhanced Fujita scale tornado touched down here in the northern parts of Fayette County. Reporting from La Vista, Chief Meteorologist Chad Merrill for Newswatch.
Again, the National Weather Service saying that the tornado was an EF2. Meteorologist Tony Edwards told us just this afternoon that the damage was impressive, snapping hardwood trees and damaging houses.
Based on the analysis of the damage that was done, largely the tree damage is pretty impressive. We're estimating wind speeds up to 130 miles an hour occurred just back here to my right, and that's indicative of a high-end EF2 tornado.
I want to bring Chief Meteorologist Chad Merrill back in now. He's live over at the weather wall with the latest in the weather moving forward. He's standing by to tell us what we can expect from the weather as the week stretches on. Chad, what are we looking at in the coming days?
Well, once again, an EF2 touchdown near Haiku, winds of 130 miles an hour. We've only had 4 EF2 or EF3s tornadoes in Fayette County since records began. We are dealing with rain and snow showers across the region. As the temperature continues to cool, some of those snow squalls will accumulate in the highest elevations. There's plenty more moisture as this low pressure moves off towards the north and east. So your forecast tonight, pay attention. Visibility reduced at times. We'll drop back to 32 degrees. I'll have your full 7-day forecast in just a couple of minutes. Randy?
Thanks, Chad. And how is the weather going to affect relief efforts?
Well, fortunately, crews will be able to wipe that snow away. It's not a shovelable snow. And also, the snow will not impact power lines at all. It's not going to weigh down the power lines. So at least we just have a minor nuisance snow and not a crippling snow for relief efforts.
Awesome. Good news. Thanks, Chad. One company at the forefront of the efforts is Appalachian Power. After widespread outages that largely have been fixed, it's been a major effort, given that 74% of Fayette County had no power. Mike Teeney has more on those efforts.
Over the last couple of days, many of us have wondered, when is the power coming back on? Prior to a storm, Appalachian Power puts employees and contractors on alert so they will be ready if the need arises. After the storms on Tuesday, Appalachian Power has over 3,600 personnel working to restore power, 2,200 of which are from outside their territory.
But what we do is if we see a large storm coming, we go ahead and put out those requests for mutual aid assistance. And luckily with this storm, we were able to secure those mutual aid crews very quickly. They all traveled here on Tuesday and we had boots on the ground yesterday. We've made tremendous progress. And with the weather on our side today, we plan to do the same.
The first step of the restoration process is to assess the damage. The bigger the storm, the more time this assessment process will take.
And the assessors go in the field and they look at what poles have been brought down by the wind. They look at where the trees have come down, where limbs have come down. And then they take that information and tell our storm operations team. And that way we can figure out what material is needed where in our service territory, where we need to send vegetation management crews, and where we can go from there to really start working to get the power restored.
When faced with a big mess, knowing just where to begin is essential.
Priorities are essential services, hospitals, critical care facilities. We make sure to get those spots on first, and that includes police stations and firefighter stations. That way, we can make sure that emergency personnel have what they need in order to get to customers, so they need that. Then we go to our largest pocket of customers next. I'm talking 2,000 or more customers that are out off of one circuit. And then from there, we work our way down, smaller the number, and we will get all the way to the end and have everyone restored as safely and quickly as possible.
Repairing damaged electrical infrastructure is inherently a complicated job. I was curious what the professionals felt was the biggest challenge.
The biggest challenge is the trees, the extensive tree damage, because we not only need to remove the trees and the tree limbs in order to get to the job site, but some of those trees that have fallen are in hard to reach places. So we've actually had to call in special equipment. We've deployed helicopters to help us find those spots that we can't see from the ground. And we're also using drones to assess damage that is not easily seen from the ground level.
It is also important to remember that for some customers, electricity is more than just a convenience.
I also want customers that are on medical equipment devices that require electricity to, if they haven't already, to reach out to a family member, a friend, even a neighbor, and make those plans in case the power restoration time that we've estimated for that outage is extended.
Powerful storms are dangerous, and that danger remains even though the storm has passed.
But we do tell our customers that if they see any downline, and no matter if it's our line or a cable company, to treat all lines that are down as energized and to stay away and keep others away. If something doesn't look right with any of the electrical facilities near your home or business, to please report it to us or 911.
This is Mike Teeney, Newswatch 4.
Private landscaping companies are also on the scene. Jacob Borsman with Brother Bear Tree Service has been traveling throughout the area, offering services to people who need help. He said that oftentimes the potential for damaged trees to collapse is a major concern of his customers.
We go to a place like this, we clean up the one that's a problem, we take it out, and then we can evaluate the other ones that are around the person's property, around the customer's property, to make sure that everything's should be in good order and safe for the future, so they're not having this looming fear over them of another tree coming down or maybe being worse next time or whatever.
It's been a busy couple of days for the State Office of Emergency Management. They are coordinating with local agencies to assess damage and help situations on the ground. Jillian Risberg is standing by with an update. Jillian?
Good evening, Brandy. It was a dynamic storm that brought out local, county, and state agencies working around the clock to make sure everyone was safe and accounted for. I spoke to several of them who share how it's a collaborative effort to deal with a weather event like this. West Virginia Emergency Management is coordinating recovery efforts at the state level, working with the governor, who issued a state of emergency.
Down there, especially the Lookout area and Hyco and some of those areas, pictures I have seen is some extreme devastation. Pattern of the storm seems to be fairly localized, thank goodness, but we are working with them to determine that damage level. So we're still going to kind of the early stages of collecting that information.
They're coordinating with local agencies who are still on the ground, providing help to people who need it still.
Nuttall Fire Department has had food trucks there available for residents or emergency responders, the linemen, whomever may need a meal. The weather may have put a damper on some of the recovery response. However, if there are needs, we have warming stations open. Different centers are available for help.
Deputy Director Matt Blackwood says things we take for granted, like having power, cell phone service, shelter, food, and water. If you have those concerns, reach out to your county emergency manager, who will connect with the West Virginia Emergency Management Division, and they in turn will work with their county partners.
And Jill, for all those affected by the storm, what can they do now?
Contact your local state management agency, and they will contact the state and help you in any way you can with whatever concerns you do have.
Thanks, Jill. And one of the agencies kept busy throughout the day was the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. Deputies were busy throughout the day and were some of the first on the scene at the site of the tornado. According to Sheriff Fridley, there is a lot of work that deputies are still doing in the aftermath.
Jody, one of our areas down in the valley, got hit real hard. And I know that Hyco and Lookout, La Vista area got hit real hard too. So we got 660 square miles that we got to worry about, but we put extra patrol out. My chief deputy did to stay in these areas that's been hit and throughout the county, but so we don't have looters coming in or people shouldn't be in that area. But again, it comes back to our citizens. They're not going to put up with it. And I wouldn't recommend anybody trying to do anything, and you better hope that we get to you before some of them would, just to be honest with you.
Now to another urgent piece of information that the public needs to know. Emergency agencies are requesting that people fill out storm surveys to report damages. Anchor Serena DeVanzo has been tracking this part of the story and is standing by live to provide an update. Serena, what do we know?
Well, Brandy, on Tuesday, the West Virginia Emergency Management Division created the survey. They wanted to understand how the severe weather affected your community, and they are working with local and county emergency managements to collect all the information. Fayette County Sheriff Mike Fridley explains more.
The Office of Emergency Services have put out a bulletin, more or less, of if you receive damage, you need to get this stuff into them as soon as possible. There's a code that you can take with your picture, with your camera or your cell phone that takes you right to the forms to fill out. That's an important part of this. Make sure that any type of damage, get that filled out so we can get you help and assistance.
They want you to fill out the survey using the QR code on your screen, but only one survey per household. The survey, though, is not an application for financial help. If financial help does become available, you'll hear from the contact info you left in the survey. If you see damages to public places like fire departments, police stations, libraries, government-owned buildings, bridges, or roads, you can report that directly to your local emergency management or WVPA at wv.gov. Brandy?
Thanks, Serena. So, Serena, what should people do if their neighbors can't access the survey?
Well, Brandy, what they should do is help out their neighbors. So people who have the survey and have access to it, they just go out to their neighbors, see how they can give them their phone, use the survey, and just overall, they need information from people and as many people as they can. So if neighbors can help out neighbors, that is greatly appreciated.
Awesome. Thanks, Serena. And we're going to step away for a quick break, but when we come back, Chad has the latest in weather, and later on we are looking at the statewide implications of the storm. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Newswatch, everyone. I-77 at Flat Top. We have a couple of rain showers moving through, but in the colder spots, we are seeing some bursts of snow, especially in Nicholas County, eastern parts of Fayette and Raleigh County, and the western Greenbrier Valley. We've picked up about a half an inch in Quinwood and Bluefield. With this low pressure sliding south and east, we will have more snow showers over the course of the evening, mixed with rain in the lower elevations. We are all in the 30s except 40 in Pipestem and lower 40s in the western parts of McDowell and Wyoming County. We will see those snow squalls continue at times, so just allow yourself a little extra time to travel, not expecting the roadways to become a sheet of ice, but there will be a few icy patches when you wake up on some of those alleyways. Temperatures in the 40s in Chicago, so this cold air is with us for a while. But look, we are in the 50s in Kansas City and 60s across the plains. That weather will get here, but we have to wait a couple of days. We have to wait until Sunday before our temperatures warm up. See this counterclockwise swirl? This is the low pressure that's pinwheeling off towards the south and east. Now, in between some of these rain showers and snow showers, there's breaks of sun, so don't be surprised to see a rainbow tonight. Bundle up tomorrow, the high of 43, and snow showers back in the picture. We're looking at about a half an inch in the grassy areas, mainly north-facing areas along Route 19, I-64, 3 to 5 inches in places like Denise outside of Raynell, 8 inches in Snowshoe. Visibility reduced at times in these squalls that'll last about 5 minutes each. A few icy patches overnight. And once we get into the weekend, we warm it up very nicely. Matter of fact, Sunday will be nice. A couple of high clouds for the eclipse on Tuesday. And then another storm system across the south and west has the potential to move in and bring showers and storms once we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. So your 7-day forecast, we are in the 40s on Friday. Flurries should end by 5 o'clock on Saturday. Notice those overnight lows down to the 20s. Our transition day is Sunday with a high of 60 degrees. We're off to the races with temperatures next week. Next threat of showers and storms Wednesday and Thursday. We have more news and sports after the break.
And we turn now to a brief update for the rest of the state. Kanawha County was also hit hard by this storm. Reports are in of damaged homes and storefronts. Heavy rains also brought flooding to northern West Virginia as flooding is continuing to intensify in Wheeling and the rest of the Ohio Valley. We will continue to track the rest of the state and update you when we can. We'll be back with a look at local sports after the break.
All right, we are back and running with sports just in time for a big weekend ahead of so much women's and men's Final Four. Find out who's playing in the championship game, baseball all weekend long, plus a lot going on with high school baseball and softball. And that's where we start today as we have some scores from some teams playing down in some warmer weather. Independence with a big 15-6 win, and they had a team effort. Levi Barnett, 2 for 4 with a home run. Blake Stratton, 2 for 4 with a home run. Cole Cunningham, 3 for 5. What a play, what a job by him. And then Micah Cuthbert, 2 for 5. Independence with a massive win. Pikeview, 12-0 win down there in Myrtle Beach as Eli Hilling threw a complete game. How incredible is that? Pikeview is having a heck of a season. They now move to 10-3 on the season. They are clearly having a lot of fun in Myrtle Beach as they win that one 12-0. Some softball scores. We've got one for you so far in this early evening. Independence. So the boys baseball won and the girls softball's getting it done as well with a 12-1 win over Rocky River as Ava Parks went 3 for 3, 2 RBIs. Cassidy Bradford 2 for 2, 3 RBIs. Kendra Spurlock smacked a home run way out of there, and Allie Warden and Harmony Mills both had a double. Incredible job so far by Independence, 12-1 win. We'll have more scores and highlights at the 11, so stay tuned for that. We go from that to Marshall having their guy, and it's a local guy, Cornelius Corny Jackson. Oak Hill Star, West Virginia Player of the Year, 1996. Incredible basketball player. Today, it was official. He officially signed a 3-year contract, and we found out today that he was the coach in waiting, named by the former head coach Dan D'Antoni. This is what Jackson had to say about D'Antoni.
I want to thank Coach Dan D'Antoni. Give it up for Dan D'Antoni. I want to thank Coach for believing in me and trusting me. Coach has a saying, and anybody that know Coach D'Antoni is up on his in the office. It's a sign that says it's not where you go in life, but it's who you travel with. These past 7 years, I've been lucky enough to travel with the best. Thanks for the ride, Coach. Your legacy will always inspire us. You changed Marshall basketball for the better.
As you can see there, an emotional and thankful Cornelius Jackson, as he is now the next head coach of Marshall men's basketball. We'll talk to him and have an interview one-on-one later this week. That does it for sports. We'll be back to wrap it all up right after this.
Rain and snow showers, changing to snow showers tonight. A couple flurries on Friday, a winter wonderland in spots, but not a crippling snow by any means. Warming up over the weekend, a couple of high clouds for Eclipse Day, showers and thunderstorms late Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We will have the latest as we get closer.
Sun. Bring out the sun.
Yes. Sunday will be gorgeous.
Yes.
Awesome. You guys tune in at 11. Be safe out there and stay warm.